Hey there, I'm Ken, this is Canadian Retro Things. It's time to do something I've never done before. And what am I going to do that I've never done before? I am going to work on a CRT. Yes, that is correct. I have never worked on a CRT before. So today is as good as any to jump right in and start doing that. Which CRT am I going to work on? Well, I'm going to work on that one, on my Commodore PET. That's the 4032 that I've been working on. You'll remember in a previous video, I put the 6502 ROMulator in there, and through a garbled bit of screen, which was not the fault of the computer, I could see that it is actually showing what it's supposed to. So what I'm going to do is try and get that CRT working, because my other option is to try and get an external monitor that would work with the external card thing that I got from Rudy's Retro Intel, and something like that would be a Commodore monitor. Funny enough, I was never interested in getting one of those, and there were tons for sale around me online, Facebook Marketplace, everything like that. Now, there's not a single one. Can't find one anywhere that's close to me. So I don't want to have a CRT monitor shipped through the mail because it'll probably get broken. Anyway, so my other resort is fixing that CRT, so let's jump right in to do that. But first, we have to give a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, PCBWay. PCBWay, where you can have PCBs printed starting at only $5 for 10 boards. Getting one of those old CRT monitors working, like the Commodore PET has, yes, you guessed it, has a PCB involved. If the unthinkable has happened and the PCB that drives the CRT is beyond repair, it's good to know that PCBWay is here. All that you need to do is design a new board, the schematic is readily available online, and have PCBWay printed for you for a very reasonable price. So why not try PCBWay today? Just visit www.pcbway.com to see how they can help you. All right, so here we have the back of the Commodore PET. As you can see, this one has been refurbished at PC Computers in El Cerrito, California. So I've gone online and looked at a bunch of places about taking these covers to the monitors off. And just about every video I've seen has basically said, okay, now you have to work on your monitor, take the cover off. Boom, next scene, the cover's off. So I'm going to fumble around and see if I can figure it out. There's two screws on the back here, so let's take this back plate off first. Yep. Back plate is off. All right, so can't really see how this disconnects from the... Okay, just give me a minute here. So I've come to the conclusion, after looking around for a bit on this, that I've got 4 bolts at the underneath here. This is inside the computer, obviously. And if I take these off, then I should be able to get the entire assembly off, and then try to work from there. I'll take the whole monitor right off of here. So and I'm gonna go see if I can find a ratchet that'll fit in there. Might be easier. And would you look at that, I found myself a ratchet. And that's going the wrong way. and the monitor has slipped a little bit. So obviously it is just sitting on top of there, so I'm going to have to hold on to it. And there we go. The monitor is off. Something else I don't have is one of those fancy discharge tools for CRTs, so I'm building something else. There we go. Now that that is all soldered into place, I'm going to be using this screwdriver. This end clips onto there. That end clips to grounding it. And just to make sure, and of course the handle not grounded. Everything is good. So I've had to adjust this a little bit. I've just set this back on top here. It's not connected. But one of the problems being that that's made of plastic. That's made of metal. So if I want to ground my discharge thing here, then I need to hook it up to something metal. Now, getting in there, it's very tight. Fortunately, this monitor hasn't been turned on for a really long time, so there shouldn't be any charge in there. So this is a good one to start with for my first time doing this. I'm wearing an extra little glove just for a little extra protection. Now what I'm going to have to do is just sneak in here. Okay, I'm hitting the wires there. No pop. So I've come to the conclusion that the only way I'm actually going to be able to work on this board is I got to take everything out of here, including the picture tube, which is going to mean there's 2 screws right here to take the board out, and then there's 4 screws to take the entire tube out. So I guess I will get to doing that. After a whole lot of cursing and swearing, I finally got this out. Now I could disconnect the entire thing here and take this off and have the board completely separate, but for right now, all I want to do is actually look over, make sure I don't have any bulge capacitors, check all the solder points, make sure that they're good, and then I can go through all the fun of putting this back together. One of the most fun things about taking this apart was these 2 plastic clips in the back here. Now they're kind of like little pressure clips that you have to squeeze together to get the board out. I eventually just had to cut the tops off of them because it is so cramped in there, and my giant meaty hands trying to do anything in there is not that much fun. Let me put it this way. Working on this thing is a bit of a pain in the ass. Alright, I have looked this board over. There are no bulging capacitors. Everything looks good there. All the solder joints look perfectly good. So, I guess we're going to have to put this back together and let's hook it up to power and see if it works or what happens. While I'm putting this back together, then how about you watch this word from my channel sponsor, Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind for all of your Coco and Commodore needs. If you're looking for things for your Commodore 64, 128, 16, Plus 4, VIC-20, Amiga, or Tandy Color computer, then you should check out Retro Rewind. They have capacitor kits, diagnostic hardware, various types of adapters, Coco SDCs, Kung Fu flashcards for your C64, and many other things. Don't have the tools to recap your board? They offer recap services as well. And since we're all friends here, you can use my discount code of CRT10 to save 10%. Retro Rewind also ships worldwide, so visit www.retrorewind.ca. And don't forget to use CRT10 at checkout for your 10% discount. Alright, I have everything hooked up. The monitor's not completely on there. It's only got 2 screws holding it in, and the back's not on yet. Got the ROMulator in there. So, I guess it's time to plug this in and test it out. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. Okay. As I suspected, there are some keys that are not in great shape, but that be working. So now I guess it's time to set the ROMulator to run some tests on this computer. Alright, I've got it set to do the ROM, RAM, and VRAM test. Okay, it says there's 0200 fault in the RAM test. So, it looks like I've got a problem with the RAM. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually just going through and trying out everything on the ROMulator. This is the pet tester. I don't know what the pet tester is supposed to do. But it's randomly doing things on the screen there. Now I'm going to try the lower RAM test just to see if I can isolate that RAM problem. It said it's 0200. Again, no idea what any of that means. I guess what I need to do is read some sort of a manual or something on this. And finally, the last thing for me to try is just the 6502 in there. No ROMulator. Now I predict this is not going to work since it was showing that there's a RAM problem. And that's not working. Let's see if we power cycle it. Do we get the same? Interesting. We're getting absolutely nothing now. Well, there we go. The CRT is definitely working on this computer. That was my goal for today. With the 6502 ROMulator in there, it's actually working, and I managed to run some tests on it. We can see that there's a RAM problem, whether that's a chip or a problem with a data line or something like that. That will be something to find out in a future episode. For now, I'm just happy that, as you can see behind me, the CRT is working on this PET. Now, I did also see that the keyboard is not working 100%, so probably the next thing that I'm going to do is take apart that keyboard, give it a good cleaning, and see if we can't get it working properly. Then we can try to trace that problem that I'm having in there with whatever it is, the RAM chip or whatever is connected to that. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget that a like, a subscribe, and a comment below are all things that help the channel out a lot and are greatly appreciated. Don't forget that if you visit Retro Rewind to use my discount code of CRT10 to save 10%. But other than that, I've got nothing else to say, so see you next time.